My name is Lourdes Sanchez Ridge.
Deborah Walker.
Marita Bryant.
And I proudly celebrate
Women's History Month
in the city of Pittsburgh.
In honor of Women's History Month, Mayor William Peduto is paying tribute to the women of leadership here in the city of Pittsburgh. In this episode, we meet the women of law and order.
I have worked since I was 14 years of age in various jobs, mostly labor jobs. I had one job when I first graduated from high school where I worked in like a steno pool for the welfare office, typing with about 50 other women, and I just felt claustrophobic. It didn't really fit in, didn't like that kind of a setting, so I usually went from one job to another if it had benefits and if it had paid a little bit more. The job that I had right before I came on the police force is I worked at the U.S. Steel building. I cleaned offices on the night shift on the 17th floor.
I was born in Cuba. I'm a Cuban refugee. A lot of people ask me, yes, I am a citizen of the United States, just to make that clear. But I left Cuba when I was 6 and moved to Miami, and that's where I was raised, basically.
I really didn't think about being a police officer. I needed a job, so I was working. I was walking through one of the buildings at the university, and there was a sign, "Wanted police officers." So I really didn't think about being a police officer. I was actually looking at the salary. I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool," you know, because minimum wage at the time probably was like maybe $4 or $5 an hour, but I was able to make about $10 an hour. I said, "Wow, this is pretty good." I was okay. I applied, went through the steps, and was selected, and went to the police academy, and everything was good.
When I observed a newspaper, I believe it was Pittsburgh Press, back in 1975, when they were first advertising for women to come on the Pittsburgh police force. And what I saw was, in big bold letters, they had $13,000 a year, eye care, dental, medical benefits, and I just tried out for it.
I was in college and I was thinking of being a paramedic or being a physical therapist. I had no idea. And I was in my room one day and my brother comes in, and he and I didn't get along at that time. I was, you know, early in my college years, and he never really spoke to me. So him coming to my room was a big deal. And he said to me, "What are you going to do? What are you going to study?" I was a junior in college and I still hadn't decided my major yet. And I said, "I don't know, I'm thinking of physical therapy or I don't know, something in that field. And he said, "Why don't you become an accountant and go to law school?" That sounds good. That's it. 30 seconds. I changed my life. 30 seconds. It was all my brother.
Where I come from, in my neighborhood, we didn't particularly care for police. And so I was sort of afraid, doubted if I could make it. And at that time also, there was a movement against women coming on the police force, like they didn't belong. There were protests around the city county building, all sorts of things. So I said, But anyway, I'll never forget a woman who worked with me at the U.S. Steel building. Her name was Miss Bernice, or that's what I called her, Miss Bernice. And I was telling her about, I had my letter saying that, you know, I was accepted to go into the police academy. And I was telling her, I don't think I'm gonna do it. And she said, "Girl, if you don't take that job, you'll be here cleaning offices for the rest of your life, just like me." And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So I just stepped out on faith, really, and I took a chance. And there were even members in my family who said, a cop? You want to be a cop, you know? And I had some uncles who were kind of rough, and they were saying that if you see me in the street and you have a uniform on, don't speak, just keep walking. And my mother, who has always been my biggest fan, she's deceased now, but she was really afraid. But once I got on, she was like, she just was so proud.
I was an accounting major at the University of Miami, and from there I went to law school at the University of Florida. And after I graduated in 1985 and became an assistant state attorney in Miami. I was a prosecutor during the 1980s, where it was the drug wars at that time. It was really a lot of fun. And then after that, I was there for about 3 years, got married, moved to Washington, D.C., where I was an assistant United States attorney. That was a federal prosecutor. I prosecuted local crimes, but then I also prosecuted federal crimes. And after that, we came to Pittsburgh because my husband's from Pittsburgh and he wanted to come back. And I stayed home. I started having children. I stayed home for many years, raising my children and being very involved in the community.
When I was hired, it was like under a consent decree, and they had, you hired 6 white males, 6 black males, 6 white females, 6 black females, and the black female portion was at the bottom. And when you actually were assigned and you went out working in the various stations, in the minds of many of the supervisors or the officers who worked there, black females were at the bottom.
And then I went back to private practice, and not back, I went to private practice where I became a criminal defense attorney, a white-collar criminal defense attorney. So I was there for a number of years, I think maybe 9 or 10 years, where I then met Mayor, then City Councilman Peduto, and just within a couple of months after I met him, he asked me to be his city solicitor.
As a police officer at the University of Pittsburgh, in 1984, I attended the Allegheny County Police Academy, and for 20 years, I was a police officer at Pitt. 16 years just answering calls on the road, emergency calls. In the last 4 years of my career, I was the public relations officer for the Pitt Police. During that time, I attended the University of Pittsburgh taking classes and was able to get a master's degree in public policy. And after I received my master's, I left police work in 2004, started with student affairs as the conduct officer in residence life, and then did that for a couple years. And when the vice provost and dean of students, Kathy Humphrey, came to the University of Pittsburgh, she elevated my position to become the chief judicial officer for the University of Pittsburgh. And so I did that for close to 10 years, and then left Pitt March, and I started in the city March 3rd of 2014.
At some point in the academy, I don't know when, it just hit me that this is what I was meant to do. And just the idea of what police officers were supposed to do, supposed to be about, it's just something that I felt that this was it. This was the profession for me. This was, for me, I feel like policing is like a calling, is you're meant to do it. It's not about salary, it's not about benefits, it's about what you're called to do. Since the very beginning, when I came on the job, it was like, you can't take it personal. Because if you take it personal, you'll crash and burn. You can't take it personal. You treat everybody fairly. And eventually, people will see beyond who they immediately see, and they see you and they accept you the way you are. And it's kind of worked for me.
My opinion, my approach to my work is of importance to this administration. You know, having the mayor, having Kevin Acklin, you know, talk with me about, you know, my approach to OMI and where I see OMI going. You know, not telling me, but asking me my opinion makes me feel very valued, makes me feel that I am truly a part of this administration and the development of this administration.
It's totally crazy, but it's very enriching. This is the most enriching job I've ever had, as far as providing me with so many challenges, and not only with different aspects of the law, but also in management, politics, which I've never been involved in, and I frankly hate, the media. So it's just a lot of different things coming at you at the same time and being able to handle it. I think it has been a tremendous experience for me, and I'm hoping that I can continue with this experience for a while.
Assistant Chief of Investigations Branch. I love investigations because that's where you really can make a difference in the way that cases are investigated, the way that cases are handled. I have a passion for people who are victimized. They're victimized because they feel powerless. They don't have the ability to either take care of themselves or deal with a problem, and there are so many people who take advantages of the weaknesses of others. So I'm very particular about ensuring that detectives take care of the victims. This is not just a case, this is people. So you have to really give it all that you can to help people.
It's been very, very exciting. Some of the things that I've put in place along with the help of our staff has been to look at our administrative operations and then put the right person in the right position. I elevated our coordinator, intake coordinator, to Deputy Director Roy Dean. And then Erin Bruni, she has now, placed her in a position that she is now the operations manager for OMI. So just looking and having a good team and seeing how we should move forward, build on the past, move forward, has been really exciting for me.
It makes me feel fulfilled.
It makes me feel very proud, the fact that people actually listen to my advice.
It makes me feel valued.
I do feel an obligation and a duty to bring up young people, and and to help them as much as they can, because lots of people help me.
My involvement with some of the organizations and leadership roles that I had in terms of being the president of a staff association at Pitt, being responsible for the 7,000 staff. Also, some of the board affiliations, the Pittsburgh Citizen Review Board, being in a leadership role, helped me tremendously in my current position.
The way that I have an opportunity to give back. I think from the time that women came on the police force, in the very early stages, we brought something to the police force that wasn't there before. Women are a little more organized. They think just a little bit more.
In order to have some influence in decisions being made is very invigorating. Going into a meeting when they're all men and I'm the only woman and they are listening to me is really fulfilling.
Women bring not only leadership, but also the balance of family and work. to the workplace, and that can be exciting because we have some really exciting conversations about, you know, what we're doing. If I'm not talking to my direct report, Lourdes Sanchez-Ridge, who is, you know, a mother and a wife, and talking with her about those things, talking with Valerie Valerie McDonald Roberts, who is a golfing buddy of mine. We both you know, share that love of golf. So being able to transition, or I should say balance the fact that these women have families. I do not, I'm single. But to talk to them about how they balance work and families, I think it's pretty exciting. And it's good for government because you bring all of your experiences to the workplace, which can be a positive.
It's been so enriching. Remember, I was in the criminal field. Now I'm totally in a different field, but I have such good people around me, and the lawyers in this law department are really good lawyers, so I have to depend on them. And here, the day you start off thinking the day's going to bring you something, and you completely do something different. You never do what you expect to do, and you're being hit with a million things at the same time. The emails are burying me alive from different things, but somehow it gets done. And I do really feel, at least with this administration, I haven't been here in any other administration, but there's a real good teamwork with the chiefs and the directors. I think we do. And then, like I said, in my department, I really have very good people that I depend on.
My mentor on this job was the late Commander Gwendolyn Elliott. I watched her go through so many things, and she just held her head high, kept it moving. She was passionate about women and children issues, and what we have in place in the police department now, a lot is based on what she brought to the table. She was definitely my mentor on the job, and she talked to me about how you have to believe in what you're doing, and that we have a responsibility, and the responsibility as the citizens of Pittsburgh. That's our responsibility. And she would tell me that you do things not so that someone in the administration will pat you on the back. You do things to help people, and that's where you get your satisfaction from on this job. And that's true. It's the small things. You don't really need a thank you. It's the small things. Sometimes when I'm, you know, just in the community walking through or at the store, something like that, people will come up and say something that impacted their lives.
I can't say enough about my former supervisor, who is now the Senior Vice Chancellor at the University of Pittsburgh. Working along with her, she was the Vice Provost and Dean of Students at the time. And some would think, wow, that's it. That is a career goal right there. But Kathy was a very hard worker, saw an opportunity, and took that challenge because it's so different from what she did as a dean. And so working under her leadership and showing me how to become a manager of people and a manager of the administrative work that we had at the university enabled me to become the director of OMI. A lot of what we see in terms of being a professor is theory. You know, somebody's theoretical approach to a problem or issue. But having that practicum, you know, I think is probably, you may use the practicum more in your work than you do theory. And so looking at what a mentor can deposit into your experiences, I think helps you along the way.
You have to believe in what you're doing and be passionate about what you're doing. Within the police force, there are so many avenues where you can go into that you can either specialize in, or if there's something that you feel strongly about, like if it's women issues, or if it's community outreach, you can do so many things. You have to first figure out what it is you want to do. What are you passionate about? Then you have to stay focused, and you do everything that you need to do to get there, and you can't let people discourage you.
One of the most important things that I learned is patience, to be patient with people.
See life as a big opportunity. There are opportunities just lurking all around you. Things that may not present themselves as opportunities, but but you can make them opportunities. Just say yes.
Every situation that you deal with may be different, and to be understanding of people and the things that they're going through in their life, because just because you see a person today, they may have challenges today, that really doesn't define who they are as the whole person.
You have to believe you can do it, because we can always convince ourselves that we can't do something. So you have to just believe in yourself.
Thank you for watching our tribute to the women of law and order here in the city of Pittsburgh. Until next time, I'm Katie O'Malley for City Channel Pittsburgh.